Welcome back to Christ Church Cathedral in Indianapolis with Missional Voices. We have a few people from the movie This Day Forward, which is directed by Brian Ide. I'm saying that right? Edie. I'm sorry. And it stars Hayden Wyatt, is that right? And Meg Thalken, Nancy Harding, and Randy, what's his last name? Coleman. Yes. First movie, right, for him?
Yes.
All right. And who else do we have with us today?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Jensen. The story is written about my family. So Hayden Wyatt plays the character of Jen, who's me.
Oh.
And Randy Coleman plays the part of my husband, Mike Jensen.
And I'm Gary Roberts. I just kind of hang out with these guys and try to make myself useful.
You've never met him.
Yeah. It looked like fun to come up here. No, it's just been an amazing journey to be along for the ride on this movie with them.
So a few questions. Why did this movie happen?
Good question for Brian. Yes.
Well, Gary and I go to an Episcopal church in All Saints, Beverly Hills in California.
I think I've heard of that before.
Yeah. And the idea started a couple of years ago of maybe we have the ability to tell stories that aren't being told about faith journeys that are a little more challenging, maybe a little less pat than some of the things that are out there. And so it was just this kind of creative dream to take a stab at that, and that's where the original idea came from.
And what was the process of making this movie like? How did you discover the story? And
well, once we decided we were going to tell a story,
and
we started to dream about what that might be, I went to college with Mike and Jen in Wartburg College in Waverly, Iowa, and had followed their journey over Facebook, like a lot of people had. And I was struck, once I realized how serious it had become, I was struck by two things. One was how positive and hopeful Jen always was externally, knowing that there was probably really dark days inside. And then this question of how in the world does Mike, who was a worship leader at this very large Lutheran church, get up in front of 1,000 people every Sunday singing about the glory of God while his life was being ripped away from him.
Yeah.
And I didn't have an answer to that, and I don't think any of us did, but we were really compelled to shine a light on that journey.
So what was the process once you had found the story, you knew what you wanted to do? How do you go from there to what we have on film?
Well, it was a year ago, January, that I reached out to Jen once we decided we wanted to tell that story and to see if she would be open to sharing that. And we had a long, kind of honest and scary and very open conversation about that, and it felt right, I think, for both of us. So February, we came out, brought a writer out and a lead actor, and told him, don't write anything until you've had an opportunity to meet the family and see what this community is like, because we didn't want stereotypes of cancer or of small town Iowa. So we did that in February. March, we brought some crew people out, and then the writer was writing furiously, and then we were there. We started filming in May, so a couple months later.
This is really quick.
Yeah, it was really fast. And that went through May and early June. Post-production started in the summer and kind of took us through fall. We did kind of a rough screening in late fall, and then it was last January that we took it back to Iowa to do our big premiere gift for them.
So where can people see the film right now? I know we're going to show it tonight at Missional Voices, but where can people see it right now if they wanted to?
So, well, right now, actually, tonight is actually pretty special because there's no place that you can see it yet. We're working on distribution right now. We have a couple of very hopeful things going on, and very soon you'll be able to see it in a theater and online. One of the things I wanted to pick up on what Brian was saying that is kind of being, as I said, along for the ride on this. Like, as you said, the time frame was absurdly fast, right? I would say, as someone who's been in the entertainment business a long time, it was impossibly fast.
Yeah.
But what happened, the thing that was so cool about being part of this was, these discussions that they had to building that trust and reconnecting and getting the script, and then all of a sudden, in this incredible kind of way, stuff just started falling down, making it possible, and that was crazy to be part of that. As I said to the vestry when I was trying to sell them on this idea and talking to a lot of movie people who were saying, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, I got nothing for y'all. Right? I got nothing. But what I've got is when God parted the Red Sea, Moses ran through it. And this felt to me like one of those moments. It felt to all of us like one of those moments.
So, and Jen, what was it like seeing this whole process play out so quick?
For
you?
It was a blur. It was a blur because it was, it did happen so quickly, and for me, it's so personal and it's so deep, and we are still so in our fight, so it's still real life for us. So for that, but it was beautiful for our family in a sense that all of these people that we didn't even know existed a year ago came to honor my husband and our family in a struggle, which is really honoring anybody who has a struggle. That's really what it's about. It's not about us. And so that part was so incredibly breathtaking to us in a support where there are days when we don't even know if we want to get out of bed because you don't know what that day is going to bring. And then in the same day, you don't know if you can go to bed because you don't know what the night's going to bring, right? So it was really beautiful and powerful to see, Brian, who's been a friend for a long, long time since college, but to see so many people who, like Gary said, just, wow, that's there's a personal connection, and it's not a connection with me. It's not maybe even a connection with cancer, but there's a personal connection for one reason or another. And so that was really the beautiful part, and it's still presenting itself that way. Now that people are seeing the screenings, and we're going to see that amplified tremendously once we're releasing the movie, just in how many lives are truly changed.
Where do you all see this movie, not this movie in particular, but movies as a whole, and how can it go forward to kind of move forward the evangelistic and mission-oriented nature of our church, and what's kind of happened the last few years?
Well, I think one of the goals for us in telling this story was to remind people that are on their own journey, is their faith journey, that as messy as that might be, that's okay. Right? That you are not flawed because your faith is a hot mess. And I think that comes out in this story. That I think a lot of times we see some of these other stories, and if it doesn't work for you, then you must not have done something right. And we don't see that way. And so we think that that's part of our mission with this, I would say, is to let people be where they're going to be and be on that journey, and hopefully watch something like this and feel a little less alone in it, whatever their unimaginable is in their life. And I think those were a couple of the goals that we had from this.
If I could just, I think that's very well said. A couple of things that I would kind of jump in and add to that. I mean, the movie, one of the things I've struggled with a lot in talking to people about the movie is it sounds very sad. And your life is tough. But the thing that jumps out at you when you see it, and I think the power of the medium of film is, yes, it's a tough spot, but there's hope in it. The medium enables you to show hope in a different way that if I'm telling you the story, it's very hard to get that across. So I walk out of there with an incredible sense of inspiration by your strength, inspiration by God's presence in your life in a way that probably we wish he would be present in some other kind of way. But what film can do is enable you to see that sometimes what you get is certainly not what you want, but God is in it anyway. And that's what I think we're trying to do. And we are hopeful, as your question anticipates, that this film will find an audience. I'm convinced that it will find a good audience, and that we can use that as a springboard to tell more stories like this, because the film is so powerful.
Well, thank you all for coming, and I would be remiss, but Greg Milken says hello.
Oh,
yeah.
So,
All saints all over the place.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and we'll have another interview coming up shortly. Or right now, and swap out.
Kicked out. Okay.